What's good, YouTube? I just want to give y'all my quick opinion on Robert Williams. As a Celtics fan, I'm not really going on this one. He has became better. 6'9", more of a four height wise, maybe a tweener at best. I told you guys I wanted Bamba. He had the length, he had the size, he had the mobility, and he had potential to be even better working with Brad Stevens that can plug him in. But he still is a rim protector. He is a rim runner, but I'm not really going for it. I gotta see it to believe it. It's interesting that Danny Ainge actually went out there and tried to get a guy like this, especially with other players becoming available this year and next year in free agency. It's going to be a plethora of these type of guys that's going to be available at the end of the day. But you definitely want the cheaper ones on the rookie contracts and see what you got develop and try to get the best out of them before their contract comes up. So you definitely don't want to get a big name free agent because you can't really afford it with Al Horford, Kyrie, and Gordon Hayward making so much money. Getting this type of player is a risk, and I told you guys that Danny Ainge is a risk taker. He's willing to make the trades. He's willing to do the things that can help his team and organization win. And that's what you want as a GM. He may not be the loyalist. He may not be the most liked person. He may do things that we might not agree with as fans. But one thing I can tell you is Danny Ainge knows what he's doing. Sometimes I even question Danny Ainge and he ended up catching me. Sometimes I question him and I was right. But majority of the time when I thought something, Danny Ainge was ahead of the game. So him and Brad Stevens in the organization, I met a lot of these people. They know something that we don't. They see something that we don't. And we done seen him draft players like Jared Sullinger that really didn't pan out. They got the best out of his abilities, but he didn't pan out. We seen him draft Fab Melo. He was supposed to be this long, lanky defender that was raw. They put him in the G League, and he never developed. So I personally felt like we needed a rim protecting center for years. And he tried to get certain players. He tried to go in a different style. But like I said, if LeBron stays in the East, your goal is to get out of it. And you're going to have to fight and claw to beat LeBron. And this team, talent-wise, can compete with anybody. Not even LeBron. This team can compete with anybody in the league when healthy. And that's the problem with Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward having a major injury, significant injury. And Kyrie Irving continually have knee surgeries on the same knee. It's not a good look, and we happy because we have these players on book. We seen what they was able to do without them, but we got to be real. Going into the season last year, I mean, we was like, we got Gordon Hayward, we got Kyrie, we're gonna be amazing. And by the playoff time came, we had no Gordon Hayward or Kyrie in the playoffs. So we have to be real. Like I said, I'm an unbiased fan. I'm open minded, willing to listen, and I'm willing to hear other people to make my decision before I comment. I'm not a person that automatically judge you right away. I want to hear what you got to say, hear another perspective, then I'll give you my opinion, but it's not the judge. And I feel like Danny Ainge done proved me right. I mean, proved me wrong more than he proved me right, but he also drafted some players that didn't pan out, and that's part of the job. So Robert Williams at 27, you can't really be mad because he was supposed to go in the top 15. Some even had him higher than that. And it show you how much potential and how good this player can be. I think his workouts really hurted him. Not attending and not really doing that well hurted his draft stock, and his pay is going to be significantly decreased going almost in the second round. But they waited. They couldn't trade up. They waited, and they got a guy that they liked. And we definitely going to see at the end of the day what Robert Williams is going to become. I think the best thing for Robert Williams is that he's coming to a team with a lot of talent, so that way he's not rushed, or he doesn't have to develop, or he has to live up to this hype, or he has to go out there and do this spectacular stuff. We just asking him to do the simple, the basic things first and go from there. And having a guy like Brad Stevens that done played with players that had potential or played with less players or made the best out of the roster that he has, even with the NBA, not just in Butler, because I feel like a lot of these Celtics teams that made the playoffs the years before now, even this year, to get them to the Eastern Conference Finals and one game away from the finals with the talent that they had was already something amazing to behold from Brad Stevens. So one thing I would definitely say is they know something we don't. And just because they draft him in 27, don't make him a steal, because he can still be a bust. remember we drafted some young players like James Young and stuff in these type of spots. And Danny Ainge thought he had a steal. Danny Ainge thought he seen something special, and it did not work. And people saying that it's a risk that's worth taking, and people saying that hey, he don't work hard enough, he don't want it enough. But he did something that made him drop this far. This is something that a lot of the fans gonna be on the fence of, and I'm not gonna jump up and down about it. But I heard that at the end of the day, Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum was the only way we was gonna get Mo Bamba, and if we got to pay that type of cost, um, it really just depends on what else is added in that trade because eventually you're going to have a moment where you're going to have to pay Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. Plus, you're going to have to keep a nucleus around them, so they're going to have to get paid too. Obviously, Horford and Kyrie come off the books, but what direction and what players you're going to have on that future team is something that we got to see out before we jump on the bandwagon of Robert Williams or even try to hype this team up that we don't really know how they're going to function and play together. Because remember, Gordon Hayward only played a couple minutes. We don't really know how good he's going to be. We don't really know how dominant he's going to be. We don't even know if he's going to be the same. And at the same time, Kyrie had, like I said, the major knee injuries where he had multiple surgery on that knee. And they haven't really played together against NBA caliber talent because Gordon Hayward went out the first game. So we really got to see how we work, how the chemistry going to be, how people roles going to be defined, who's going to get the minutes, who's going to be the sixth man, and how many minutes are they going to get Robert Williams? Is they going to put him in the G League like they did Fat Melo and James Young? Is they going to give him some NBA minutes? We have to see this, and we're going to have to see a lot. I'm going to summer league. I'm going to have a chance to see Robert Williams, and I will love to tell the Celtics fans that's on my channel how I really feel about him during summer league. I'm not going to really judge him based off college because he's not in that league anymore and he's going to a higher level. So it's starting off at a clean slate. He got to start all over, gain respect, fans, and trust, and keep the loyalty from the Celtics, which is hard to do. And if, like I said in my mock draft review, hey, if you're not there and they don't see it in you, you're going to get traded for a second round pick, and if not, you're going to get released or waived. So this is a rough business. It's a cold world, but it is. Hey, we trying to win the championship, especially with the roster that we have on paper. So at the end of the day, one thing I would definitely say is it's going to be tough, and Robert Williams got to be committed. Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens, they expect excellence, and I don't want nothing else from my owner and my coach. And he's coming to a team just like we've seen with Jordan Bell and Kevon Looney, where you might get the minutes and you might look better than you really are, but it helps your development and it helps your confidence. So hopefully playing with these other great players can really bring out the best in him. If not, we'll see him in summer league. If he don't do well, we'll see him in the G League. And if he don't pan out, hey, it was a 27 pick. Why not take a chance? Why not take a risk? You can get a sure thing, but on this roster, the way it's constructed, it's not really that many minutes for other people. Honestly, it's really not. And for the bigs, Al Horford gonna get the bulk of those minutes. Now, if it was Bamba, I can see him getting more minutes because he was a higher pick, and you traded a significant asset to get him. So he's gonna come in, and you're gonna want him to do more. But you didn't have to really trade or give up nothing really to get this pick, and you want to take a flyer on him. And we already got our main nucleus and core intact for this season. So let's just see how it plays out, and let's see where he goes, whether he's in a G League, Summer League, or even starting, or even coming off the bench, or just being the crunch time player. We'll see where his career goes, and as it goes, we will follow because we're Celtics fans. We want to keep up with the news with this team. So, like I said, what do you guys think? Should they gave up Jason Tatum? Some people say he's a superstar. He do give us a little insurance on Gordon Hayward. If Gordon Hayward ain't working or ain't playing right or not healthy and not playing like he used to play, we still have Jason Tatum that can step up, which he proved this year. I'm not the biggest fan of Jason Tatum, but one thing I would say is in the playoffs, we saw a new version of him. And if he can bring that same attitude, hey, Gordon Hayward going to be fighting for a spot. But I still think Gordon Hayward's significantly better. But without the injury happening, that's without the injury. With the injury, we don't really know what to expect. And if he don't pan out, then we have Jason Tatum. And then Jalen Brown is showing that he has potential to be a star, to finally develop in that jump shot, this corner three, the spot up three. He does need to continue to attack, but we're going to see what happens with him. So the game is going to more of a guard and forward league, wing league. but we still have a diverse center. But I don't see him around that much longer, depending on how the contracts go, because he's in his 30s and his team's still in their 20s. So Al Horford, we prefer to keep him, but those numbers gonna have to come down in the future so we can keep this rest of the talent in this core together. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think Robert Williams was a good pickup? Do you think it's risky? Do you think they should never did it? Do you think they should have done it? Do you even think that at the end of the day, Robert Williams gonna be a bust? At the end of the day, he's gonna be in the G League. At the end of the day, you don't care whether he's in the G League or playing in the roster because he might not be like Terry Rozier, ready to play right away, and he might play years from now and be a difference maker then. We'll see. Check out my website, knowledgeofplayground.com. Link in the description, comment section below. Check out my Facebook page at knowledgeofplayground.com. Link in the description, comment section below. Like to show support. Quinn Wade, basketball analysis. I'm gone. And that's just my thoughts on Robert Williams going to the Celtics at the number 27 pick.